Alright, fuck it. I'm going on live, bro. Okay.
What's 3 divided by 8?
3 divided by 8.
0.375. Wow. 5.33. Okay. I know it's not 0.33, but probably else it is.
Are you live?
Yeah.
Can I hear you?
I think so, yeah.
It's really weird right now.
There's like 4 people. Oh, yeah, apparently Google had news.
Huh?
Apparently Google had bad news.
Shit. Bro.
That's insane. What the hell? Wait, what happened? I think Apple had good news. Oh, what the? Hey!
What's going on?
Yeah, Apple had bad news too. Wait, what had such bad news? What the heck? For those I'm gonna start in a minute. I'm just waiting for some more people to join. What into their swing? Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. First of all, does anyone have any questions or is there any lag? If anyone has any questions or if there's lag, then just type it in the comments. Just gonna Wait, does anybody know what the Google or Apple news was? Because I actually kind of liked Google for next week. Oh, Netflix had good news. Alright. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and start. I don't think there's any lag. I turned on volume for OBS. So everybody can hear me, right? I just want to make sure. If people can hear me, just say something in the comments so I can get started. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna go and get started then. So I'm gonna review Google first. For people who aren't watching the live, I'm just gonna have a recording. I'll just post a live stream link later, but let's go ahead and get started with Google now. Okay, so before this news, I'm just gonna go ahead and start from a blank chart and show you. Oh, I already had a Google blank chart marked up, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you exactly what I saw in Google. Just give me a second. I'm gonna take YouTube right here. Okay, and then I'll have my charts right here. All right. So just starting from a daily chart, it doesn't take a genius to figure out that Google is in a clear uptrend. It's making higher lows. It's hanging out around its all-time high. So for those questioning to go short, my question is, why would you go short on something when the stock is, making higher lows on a daily chart, when it's hanging out near its all-time highs? In my opinion, there's no reason to go short at all. So I'm just gonna draw the first thing I do is just draw out my supply and demand zones. So I have clear daily demand right there, and then I have daily supply right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that as green and blue, or as green and pink. So now that I have my zones on a daily, I'll just shift through all time frames to draw out zones. I have 4-hour demand right here, which I'm gonna draw out. I also have 4-hour demand here, but price is very, very far away from it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and ignore it for now. Okay, let me just shift to the other time frames. I had 3-hour supply here. The thing is, this supply zone was used. So when supply zones are used, they have a very, very low chance of working out. That's why, that zone is pretty much irrelevant to me. So that's 3. Just shift between the time frames. 2, I don't see anything. 90. We did form this 90-minute supply. However, I'm pretending like today's action did not exist because I'm drawing all the technicals leading up to today. 1, also nothing. 45. So just like that, I can't find any other fresh supply or demand zones. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to my levels now. So the first thing, and probably the most important level in my opinion, is all-time high. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that as all-time high. I'm also going to go ahead and just change this transparency so you can see levels a little bit clearer. So now that I drew out my first major level, all-time high, I'm going to find some potential areas where I can take Google long. So the first thing which was of interest to me was this trend line on the 1 hour. The other area of interest for me was this level right here, the 2890 level. Okay. Oh, what the? My bad. We can go ahead and mark that again. So, as I said, the 2 areas of interest for me, I'm gonna go ahead and explain both levels a little bit more, but I'm just marking them out right now. So 2890, I'm gonna mark this as resistance. I'll do this in orange just so you can see the difference. Okay, so basically, now that I drew out my zones, I'll go ahead and explain these levels. So for trend lines, I like them to be as clean as they possibly can. I have 1 touch here, I have 2, 3, and 4 touches here on a 1 hour time frame. So in my mind, this is a very, very valid trend line, and my plan is to take a break of this level, and then my second area of interest was the 2890 level. So why the reason why this level was of interest was because it acted as resistance once here. We broke above this level. Now the 2890 level is holding as support. So it held it as support once and twice. Now we breached the 2890 level, and now it's acting as resistance. 1, 2, 3. So this level is acting as a pivot level, and hence my plan is just to take a breakout of this level, targeting daily supply at 2900. So I'll go ahead and say it again. My first plan was to take a break of this trend line, front running the 2890 break, finally targeting 2900. So I had all of this marked up in pre-market. So all that's left to do during the actual market is just to execute my trade. I'll go down to a 5-minute chart now and show you my entries and exits now. So what I saw, I'm gonna go ahead and shift to video because I wanna explain SPY and Q's action as well. Google. SPY. I'm only gonna pull up SPY to here actually. I'm gonna pull up Q's to here as well. Okay, so what I saw is a very, very strong pre-market for both SPY and Qs. So I saw both SPY and Qs gap up. So from a contextual point of view, yesterday was a pretty significant red day for both SPY and Qs. So because we are in an uptrend, we want to see buyers defend the lows and potentially move us higher. So that's exactly what happened pre-market, and this just proves that buyers are interested in buying the dip. So we dipped below 4-hour demand, we got back, we rallied from 4-hour demand, we created new demand along the way. So this is very, very bullish action for both SPY and Qs. So I saw the same exact thing for Google. I saw Google gap up about $10. So when a stock gaps up along with SPY and Qs, it means that not only is the stock itself like Google strong, but it also shows that the general market is strong as well. So I had very, very convincing pre-market action. Now my initial plan was to take the retest of this wedge. However, we did not retest it, which means that my first play is invalid. So now I'm just looking to simply take a breakout of the 2890 level, targeting daily supply. So my entry was very, very standard. I entered slightly before we broke the level, right here. Oh shit, my bad. I'm gonna go ahead and remove this 3-hour supply because it was used. But just to give you a little bit more detailed thing, I'll show you that I entered right here. So, I did take bigger losses today just because I played bigger position sizes. And the reason I'm playing bigger position sizes is because I've been consistent for the last 2 months. I think it's been 3 months. So, I entered slightly before we broke the level. I was in heavy size. I was down pretty significantly at this point, but my thesis is always to wait for a 5-minute candle close. So I waited for a 5-minute candle close, and as this candle started showing selling pressure, I accepted the loss and I exited right here. So I entered 4 contracts at 250, exited all 4 at 2. So I ended up losing $200 on this trade, which is a very, very good loss in my opinion, considering it's a Friday, and considering that on Fridays options are very, very volatile, and considering it's the open, taking a 20% loss is not bad at all in my opinion. So at this point, I should have just walked away from Google after seeing this massive upper wick. So for those who don't know, upper wicks indicate selling pressure and lower wicks indicate buying pressure. So when I saw this massive upper wick, I should have not re-entered it. However, emotions got the best of me and I re-entered right here slightly before the level. We chopped around for a couple of minutes, or a couple like 10-15 minutes, and as soon as this candle closed with an upper wick, I decided to exit my position here. So on this plan, I had no clear thesis. I was just hoping that we would get above the level, which we eventually did, but then failed. So the main thing to note from this second trade is do not enter a trade before a level when there is clear selling pressure. This upper wick here was an indication of clear selling pressure. So the question to myself is, why would I enter here knowing there was such massive selling pressure? But besides that, those were my 2 trades on Google. I think I did a pretty good job starting from the higher time frame and then working my way lower. So I'm gonna open it up to questions now. Does anybody have any questions or things that you want me to go over right now? If you guys want me to cover anything else, then also let me know. Can you explain what you mean by do I have an external screen? Oh, do you mean like a separate screen for my executions? Yeah, I have a separate laptop where I have IBKR Pro pulled up, and that's where I execute my trades. Besides that, I have one big monitor where I have all my charts on, and then yeah, the other screen is I just use it for Discord. Was I watching anything else besides Google? I was watching Snow. It was the only other setup I was watching for the day. Um, Snow looks really, really good because one, we're clearly in an uptrend, and two, we have heavy resistance at this 265 level. We just zoom in. So right here, 265 point or 325.75. I was just anticipating a break, targeting 30 minutes. Do I trade SPY and Qs? I do not trade SPY and Qs. No, it's not my style. I will use SPY and Qs for context, but I will not trade them. And yeah, Snow had that daily resistance line, so whenever we have levels on a daily time frame, it has a much better chance of working out. Are there any other questions or anything else you want me to go over? I can actually go ahead and also cover stops. This is a perfect example. I always get questions regarding stop losses. So I can tell you exactly where my stop was on Google and why my stop triggered. At least for the first trade. The second trade made no sense at all. But for the first trade, my stop was, if Google moved above this level and failed to hold value above and closed below, I would stop out for a loss. So what happened? Um, we broke above the level, we closed with an upper wick, we failed to close above this level. So at this point, my stop triggered. So at this point, there's no reason to stay in the trade. And, emotion wise, for the first trade, I did a very good job of getting out where I needed to get out. Did I have any stocks I'm looking for next week? Yeah, I do. I like Tesla, I think. Let me go to a So if I go to a 1 hour chart on Tesla, let me go back to charting. Okay, so there is a setup on Tesla that I liked. I think it's a 762 level breakout. I'll go ahead and mark this. Has multiple tests as well. I haven't made a fully structured plan, but I am eyeing this level, and next week I will come up with a solid plan. But we found resistance at this level 2 times here, and then fast forward all of the previous week, we are failing to get above this level. This level is what, I think 762 is a bit more accurate, but just this area from 762 to 763, we're having trouble getting over. Also, Tesla's been making higher lows, so my plan is just to take a breakout of this level. And yes, this level is exactly where we approached yesterday or today. Besides that, I like Facebook. Again, I haven't made a fully structured plan, but Facebook has 1, 2, 3, and 4 touches at this level. So I want to get in here before retail chases at all-time high. I probably have a couple more setups. Those are just the 2 I remember off my head, and I will send my entire plans out for next week. So also I wanted to give you my live thought process of Google in real time. However, I forgot to hit the record button on my OBS, so I wasn't able to. I'm gonna end the live stream in 5 to 10 minutes because I have class. But anyone have anything else that they want me to cover? I think I did a good job of explaining Google in its entirety. Okay, that's good to hear. Yep, Tesla and Snow look good for next week, especially AFRM. I really wanted to trade the $100 breakout, but we gapped above, and that means there's no entry. This just goes to show you that sometimes when stocks gap up above your level, the stock will move higher. In this case, AFRM is up 30%. However, there's not always going to be a play on them. So you just have to accept that and move on. All right, so I don't think anyone has any other questions, so I'm just gonna end the live stream here. It was a smaller live stream, but I just wanted to go over Google and basically the entire play I took. Okay, I hope you guys have a good weekend, and we'll be back to trade next week. Oh, I'll go over this one. PayPal 290 analysis. Let me look at PayPal now. I remember trading this breakout on PayPal. 290 is what, this level? This is a valid level. Oh, but we have daily supply right here at 290.3. So taking the 290 breakout on PayPal wouldn't make sense risk to reward wise. So I'll show you what I mean. We have a green box here. Just imagine that this is a supply zone. I mean, this is a supply zone. I'll go ahead and change this to what? Pink for supply. So my question is, why would you take the 290 breakout knowing we have fresh supply here? So I personally would avoid the 290 level. Nvidia is doing a good job of holding value. A lot of the stocks are weak today. Netflix is also strong. Alright, well, I'm going to end the video here. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll be back to trade next week.